We're just going to hit record. All right, we're ready to go. Thank you everyone for joining us for our weekly GB training. This was one that you guys actually asked for. You guys wanted to know more about the tax side of your business. And as you guys asked for it, there was only one person I could think of that could come and teach you guys all about tax when it comes to your Sensi business is Dan Kinane. We actually met Dan back in Sydney at, I think was it the first ever reunion? I can't remember if it was.
Yeah, it was
one of the very first reunions. They sat at our table at leadership, so we were stuck with them for I think it was like 2 full days. But it was a friendship that's continued.
Never let go.
Yeah, it's been a friendship that's continued for I think what would be like 5 years now. 5.
Yeah, it's 5 or 6. Yeah.
Yep, and we get to see them at incentives, trips, and reunions. And honestly, they're one of our favorite couples. And he supports his wife, Nikita Kinane, and you've probably seen her a lot on the All Consultant page. There's a lot of training for Australia and New Zealand. But I'm going to hand the time over to Dan. And if you guys want to put your questions in the comments, I'm sure he'll check them. But take some notes. He is honestly the man when it comes to tax.
That's a big one, knowing how to check the comments. This is my first actual ever Zoom, so just bear with me. We use Teams and stuff for work. All right, so where do we start? So I guess there's a few New Zealand people and Australians. Largely, most of the rules are the same, so I'll go over sort of broadly, and then there's a couple of little bits that are different. I looked up the New Zealand ones, and I'll try my best there for you. Okay, so first port of call, you got to generate your pay statement. So you should all know how to do that. You open your workstation. Up at the top right, you click on your name. You drop down the tab and click Account tab. Scroll down to generate pay statement, and then pick the dates from the 1st of the 7th, 2019 to the 1st of the 6th, 2020, and that will give you your cash payments for the financial year. In Australia, I didn't look this bit up for New Zealand, but in Australia, you pay tax on a cash basis for small business. So that'll get you those actual payments that fell in the financial year. Okay, also, so this year it's probably more than other years where you usually get a trip. Don't have to worry about that. But this year, if you got a cash payment instead of the trip, that's actually reportable income. It's a commission payment. It's a bonus. It's reportable income in your pay. The other thing is cash receipt. So if you've sold some of your old stock, like Nikita's also, you sold some of that, you got some cash, you're technically supposed to report that, but they'd be hard pressed to track it, I guess, is the main thing. You want to do the right thing, report your cash. Otherwise, and the other thing is, if you earn any interest on your Sensi account, that's going to be reportable as income as well. So that probably pretty much covers off the income side of things. I don't know if you want me to stop for questions first on that, or if we just keep on buzzing through and we'll do the questions later. Cool, righto. So then we go to expenses, okay? So you just got to think all the things that you've paid for to generate that income that aren't a necessary expense. So you can't say like my breakfast in the morning, you could have had breakfast, not had breakfast, and still make your income. It's not going to fly. So more so we're going with things like stock. So everything in your kit that you take to display, or that you take to, go to stalls, to wherever you're going and putting it out there. So all your warmers, all the wax, all the oils, everything you bought for that, claim that. That's all good. That's your stock. Your advertising expenses. So whether you're printing stuff yourself, or if you're buying it, or if you're paying for electronic stuff, like you might pay for Facebook advertising or other forms of electronic advertising, claim that stuff. That's all business expense. All the warmers and wax that you bought to use at parties, but then they're now at your house because you can't get rid of that stock after you've used a couple of blocks. Claim all that. That's so it's a little bit of a side perk where bought the stuff to take to parties to show off, and then you get to use it afterwards. So all good. Business expense it up. You can't claim for items that are incidental. So, you know, we've all got a home office where you're working. You can't claim your coffee, your tea, your milk, or your lunch. That's just all incidentals. That, you know, the ATO can't help whether you buy that out or just have that at home. So don't guarantee that. And not lunch while if you're just going to the markets or you've just gone somewhere to work for the day, or even if you're buying lunch on the way to a party, nope, doesn't fly. So those ones are no-go, okay? They're incidentals. And then we go to the bigger travel. So family reunion, if you're going to family reunion, of course your ticket to family reunion is one thing, but if you fly there, your flights are claimable, your accommodation is claimable, your meals while you're away from home are claimable, okay? So, but then if you extend that trip, even by like a day because you want to go see family or go sightseeing, you have to then percentage that back. So the stuff on the day when you've gone sightseeing, no go, okay? You then also have to portion your flight. So you'd say like, I was gone for 4 days, 2 days were personal, or 50% of the flights, okay? And also not the accommodation on those days. The other things though, so car hire is another one that I sort of missed out there. So those things are all claimable as part of traveling for work, okay? This one's a grey area. So I'd go with a small amount of makeup because you have to be presentable when you're doing home parties, right? You're not going to go there, well, you can if you want, but it helps to be presentable. So a small amount, you're not going to claim big stuff for like getting facials and getting all, you know, your magic creams or whatever the hell you do, but just maybe a bit of blush and a bit of eyeshadow, like slide that in there, but just don't go over the top because it's a real grey area. You know, the ATO they give you a determination on your vocation if you ever get pulled up on it. So if you go into an accountant, they might not let you slide it through, but it's worth a try, okay? So it's just a grey area on that one. Then everyone's got a home office, right? So in Australia, I'll go through Australia first on these two next ones, and then we'll go to the New Zealand ones. In Australia, it's really simple. You can go and do the portion and work out your square meterage, all that. Otherwise, you can just claim 52 cents per hour that covers off your lighting, your heating, cooling, cleaning, and furniture, okay? So 52 cents an hour for the time that you work out that you were basically in your office. If you keep a little journal, it doesn't have to be precise. Work it out for a month, times that by a year. If you ever get pulled up on it, then you make up a journal. I didn't tell you to do that, but that's what you do. Right? You can work it back afterwards, okay? You might hear about there's an 80-cent rate because of COVID at the moment, but that's for employees that have been sent home. They've got that simple rate from March to June. But for all of us with our home income for Sensi, it's 52 cents per hour, okay? Then on top of that stuff, you claim your printering part of your phone bill. You don't claim the whole lot. You're not on your phone solely for Sensi. So if you ever had to go through and itemize your bill, like that's what they could make you do. Go through and be like, which ones were business calls, which ones were personal calls to justify your claim. So you're best off just claiming a percentage, like maybe half. Depends on how often you use your phone personally, really, for that one. Same thing for your internet. Your internet, you need that for checking your sales online and getting out there. So portion of that claimable as well. And depreciate your computer. So it's a bit of a trickier one. Computers, there's certain depreciation rates. I can share that in there, but it's a pretty well a flat rate of, I think it was about 50% per year of the cost. So if it was $1,000, you claim $500 the first year, then you've got $500 to claim, the $250 the next year, and half of that again. Yeah. Don't claim it all on those things. Claim a percentage. Motor vehicle. So when you're driving around to go to parties, to go to markets, to go to anywhere where you're going to set up and sell, you can claim 68 cents per kilometre up to 5,000 kilometres. Again, that's Australia. So 68 cents per kilometre up to 5,000 per car. So if you have a car, your partner has a car, you can claim using their car too. But 5,000 kilometres is a fair few kilometres. Like, you'll be driving around a fair bit to get there. Now, for the New Zealanders, those rates are a little bit different. So for their car rate, they actually have, it's 79 cents up to 14,000 kilometres. And then over 14,000, it depends on what sort of motor you have, whether it's petrol or diesel, petrol hybrid or electric, then what the rate is after 14,000 kilometres. Okay, so 79 cents per kilometre for New Zealanders. And for the home office in New Zealand, there is a per square metre rate for your home office. Instead of that 52 cents per hour, it's a per square metre rate. So you work out how big your home office is, you know, whether it's 16 square metres times, it was $41.25, I think, per square metre. So that would be your rate there. But there is a calculator that you can use as well for if you think your house is, you know, like if you live in a better house, you might have a better rate, basically. But they do have that flat rate to cover you off. So that probably covers off most of the expenses and that as well. Then I'm going to move down to the famous one I always hear, that people always like, no, I'm not claiming my income. It's a hobby. It's not a hobby. Yeah, basically there's you can go and do the test on the Australian ATO website. There's a thing, you won't pass as a hobby. Basically a hobby is a pastime or leisure activity conducted in your spare time for recreational pleasure. If your aim's to make a profit, it's not a hobby. Hobbies are only, like, basically you nearly need to make a loss to be written off as a hobby. So maybe someone out there is only doing it as a hobby and not making a cent, but you know, 99% of us are going to be, we're in business, you got to pay tax on the money. It's unfortunate. Then there's the other myth that gets around that it's under $6,000 income, it's not claimable. No, that's another myth. It's all claimable. It all goes on your taxable income. It just gets added on there, okay? All right. The other thing for the hobby is you might qualify for a hobby if you're buying Sensi products and then creatively representing them and selling them at cost. So no advertising allowed, no public selling allowed. Like, I don't know who's doing that, but if you are, well, you're a hobby, but everyone else isn't. Okay, so if you're looking for information and you wonder, like, travel expenses, I want to Google up what are travel expenses allowed. If you're in Australia, go travel expense ATO, and that will take you to the ATO, the Australian Taxation Office results for travel expenses, so that you can get from the tax office the actual, you know, the rules, rather than if you just Google travel expenses, it could come up with about 100 other accountants that just want to try and sell you their product, which you can't blame them, but it's a hard way to find out the information. If you're in New Zealand, you got to put IRD instead of ATO. So travel expense IRD, and that will take you to the, what is the thing called, Inland Revenue or something. That'll take you there and get you the information straight from your tax office. Okay, so yeah, so I can supply some of these links for this information. I'll put them in the page, and then you can look it up yourself if you just want to go back over it. Yeah, basically that's sort of it for what I've prepared. Let's have a look if there's questions.
Look at the questions, because you do have.
Yeah, okay, so what have I got to do? Scroll to the top first. You can hear me, I can hear you. Yeah. Okay. Oh, thank you for looking up the New Zealand tax info. So you're welcome. Is there a limit to what you can make as a consultant before you claim tax free? No. So you've got to claim it. No. Yep. So we went over that. That's 6,000. Regardless of how much you earn, you've got to claim the income. But you might have more expenses. So if you've only earned a little, but you have a lot of expenses, it ups it out. Okay? But you can't claim then a loss against your other income. It'll just be zeroed out. Postage expenses, yes. Postage, definitely claimable. petrol for delivering. So I did say, you know, I went with the cents per kilometre. It's just a simpler method. You can go and do up a logbook. You can do a logbook for 12 weeks. You've got to keep a logbook for, and that gives you a percentage of use for your car. And then you claim that percentage on your expenses for the year. So you'd have to keep every fuel receipt, every, you know, your rego, your insurance, all your repairs and maintenance. And then you claim that logbook percentage of business use against those total expenses. It's just like a whole lot of hard work that's going to probably, you know, result usually in less of a claim if you're not using your car a whole lot. If you're using your car only for Sensi, then maybe that might be the better way for you, but it's a lot more work. Okay, but yeah, so you don't have to provide all the customers' invoice receipts, but Sensi collates that information for you and then gives you your income statement. So that's what we went on and pulled out of the workstation. Okay. Yeah, so we personally have a business account instead of using your own personal account. It just makes it easier at the end of the year because you can go, you know, zero off the accounts and have a look at what expenses come out. You can just trail through there. If you've got it in your personal account and you're looking at things like Big W, you go, well, which Big W was for Sensi and which one wasn't? Like, I've got to go through all my receipts now. Whereas if it's just on one account where there's maybe, you know, 200 transactions of expenses, easy to find things, easy to know what it's for. Yeah. Okay, you live a long way from everyone. Well, fair enough. You might want to keep a logbook and claim your percentage of your actual expenses. So the ABN, so that's just your own business number. Everyone has to have one in Australia to do business. The tax threshold is really, so that's just a way of proportioning tax so that everyone's paying their fair share. So people under 19,000 pay zero tax, and then from there to about 23,000 you get some rebates. So if Sensi is your only income and you're earning under 19, you're not going to pay tax on it anyway. So you might as well, you've got to put that tax return in and it will be okay. You're not going to have to pay any extra money. Yeah. And if you're earning from 19 to maybe 23, you're probably going to get rebates and wipe out that tax money as well, which is good. Yeah, you can claim, extra Sensi things. So like the paper bags, stickers, Sensi pens, anything that you're buying that's like Sensi labeled and you're going to give out as gifts and things to your customers or use for advertising, claim it. Yeah, that's, you know, that's all part of it. It's all part of your branding and part of earning more money, you know. So anything that's actually going to produce income should be claimable. Yeah, download the AT app. So yeah, I'm loving it. We've got Nikita finally, we're able to wrangle her into it tomorrow. The ATO app is great. You can take a picture of your receipt and it stores it in there. At the end of the year, it can load it into MyGov and your information is done. So if you want to keep it that way, yeah, you just take pictures of it all as you go and it's done. It's a very good app. Yeah. Can we claim? Yep, packaging, all that stuff. Definitely claim on it. Business expenses, and yeah, you can claim depreciation on your office furniture. But if you're going to do office furniture, then you've got to do the percentage of your whole, like your electricity, your heating, your cooling, your cleaning, and all your furniture. And then, you know, like it gets a bit messy. Whereas you just do that cents per hour clean. You know, you want to make it a lot simpler for yourself. You do want to maximize your return, but like if it's going to take you 4 hours to get it all together and work it out versus doing it in 15 minutes, I know which one I'd rather do, unless it's going to be, you know, thousands of dollars difference. Yeah. So Derby, Sensi usually requests that you have an ABN before you, you know, start, before you register. They need that before they can start paying in Australia. No, Cindy said no.
They've changed.
Well, that's okay. Did
Yeah,
they?
even when we first started, you couldn't even sign up for a kit until you had an ABN. But now it's until you
Yeah.
first 10,000, then they actually will withhold commission until you submit an
Oh, yeah.
into them.
Yeah,
Actually,
righto.
no,
So you
not
still need one.
yeah. Eventually, you'll need one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To do business in Australia, you need an ABN. So you might as well, like, it doesn't cost you anything other than like 5 minutes of time to go on and register. It's very easy, and yeah, it's free. So why not? Yeah. Okay. Well, that's all of those. Most welcome. Thanks a lot for your time, guys. And if you have any other questions, chuck them in the page. If you think of anything later, I'll try and answer it the best I can. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. I really appreciate it. I mean, like, you do tax all day, every day. Are you super? You're super at the moment, aren't you?
I'm super nowadays. I used to do tax all day, every day, though. So,
Yeah, but I mean, it's the
once
last
you
thing
know
you
what
want to
it's.
do when you get home. So we appreciate you taking the time to come and share all of that. And I know that a lot of people got a lot of info there, which is going to be helpful. And like Dan said, I think he's even part of our page. I'm sure you are, if you're on the event. So Dan's on
Come
our.
on there.
You can tag him. I'll give you permission to
Yeah.
tag his name. And ask. But I
Chuck a
really appreciate
sneaky like in every so often.
So thank you. Appreciate your time and the time that you took out of your night. So thank you, Dan. You're the man. Okay,
It's
cool.
okay.
This is all being recorded, so it will be uploaded to our group Facebook, YouTube. But thanks for joining, guys.